I'm excited to introduce a man who is going to show us how important it is to keep play at work. He is the founder of Kevin Carroll Catalyst and the author of 3 highly successful books: Rules of the Red Rubber Ball, What's Your Red Rubber Ball, and The Red Rubber Ball at Work. As an author, speaker, and agent for social change, aka the Catalyst, it is his mission to inspire businesses, organizations, and individuals, from CEOs and employees of Fortune 500 companies to school children, to embrace their spirit of play and creativity, and to maximize their human potential and sustain more meaningful business and personal growth. So please join me in welcoming the champion of the Red Rubber Ball and founder of Kevin Carroll Catalyst, Kevin Carroll.
Wow, that feels like I should be in the club. I should be. Okay, anyway, I know he was getting ready to give me a little more beat there afterwards. I understand there's a reception. I will show all my moves then. So thank you so much. I'm just getting myself a little situated here. I think about every time I've had an opportunity to come to this amazing state, but even more so this city, the city of Norman, Oklahoma. It's a very important place for me because of a relationship I have with a young man. My best friend growing up, his name is Norman. And so coming here really is special because we lost Norman at a very early age, a very young age. And so I love coming here because it's always a reminder, and I call his mother to let her know that I'm with Norman. And so I appreciate you all bringing me here again. And this is my 3rd time visiting your great state and city, except for the times when I was here for other work. Just to get a chance to be a speaker here is fantastic. I'm going to share with you stories. Storytelling, I think, is a critical piece, a critical way that we actually learn and embed information. You all have had a chance to be in breakout sessions, to hear other speakers today, to hear their stories. So I'm hoping that I can amplify the whole idea of why storytelling is critical and important to us as it relates to innovation, creativity, problem solving, abstract thinking, ingenuity. See, we learn best through stories. Stories inform. We have an oral tradition. We have lots of storytellers. I know about that. And so I think the more that we recognize that as leaders, how you inspire others, it will be through a story. It will not be through statistics. It will not be through a PowerPoint. It will not be through anything, but really being able to articulate a vision and inspire others to take action around it. That's true leadership in the 21st century. Your ability to step aside and allow others to amplify the work that you're doing. Through story. Stories inspire, stories move us to action. So I'm going to share a little bit of my story, my journey, what has really been an impact on my life, and then I'm going to share with you some simple truths, some simple lessons that I've learned about how to sustain creative energy and how to turn ideas and dreams into reality. Is all that fair? Yes. Excellent. So, I like to say that my story is no different than anyone else's, but it's mine. My story starts with hard scrabble, dysfunction, and hardship. I'm the product of 2 addict parents, 2 parents who abandoned 3 little boys. It put us in a predicament. My father left when I was 3 years old and I never saw my dad again. My mother continued our nomadic life. We moved from place to place to place to place to place. We slept in cars. We slept in her get-high buddies' houses. We slept on porches. We had no sense of family, no sense of belonging, no sense of home. Now, one thing that I knew for sure, though, something was coming that was going to be really special for me, and I was excited about it. It was 1st grade. And I'd see my brother go to 1st grade, but get pulled out in the middle of the school year because my mom moved us again. So I was really concerned that she was going to do the same thing to me, and I really didn't want to miss school because school represented normalcy. See, my brother got breakfast in the morning when he went to 1st grade. He got lunch. He could count on people. So I wanted that too. So my brother and I conspired together to make my mother actually make a promise. We found a lucid moment. We told her, "Mommy, please, you gotta promise you're not gonna move us. I wanna go to 1st grade, and Donnie's gonna be in 2nd grade. You gotta promise us." She said, "You boys don't have to worry. I'm not gonna move you." 2 weeks. 2 weeks of joy, 2 weeks of bliss, 2 weeks of certainty, normalcy, something I could count on. Because we got free breakfast, we got to go to school before most of the kids. We were in the classroom and in the school building before most of the kids were there. So I knew the janitors, I knew the staff, I knew the people that were working in the library. I knew my teacher really well. See, those people knew that if you were coming in for free breakfast as a child, they knew you were dealing with something. So they were really, really present for us. Very attentive, talking and asking and sharing. 2 weeks, a phone call comes to the classroom. They're asking for me to go to the front office. So I plead with the teacher, well, what did I do? Did I get in trouble? What did I do? Because I was no innocent child. The teacher said, I don't know why, but they want you at the front office. So I'm a little confused, and I'm coming out of the classroom, walking down the hallway, and I turn the corner. I know what's going on then, because I see my brother walking up the hallway too. We know our mom's around the corner. We don't even have to say a word. We come around the corner, and there she is. The words she says, they're not loving at all. They're very emphatic. Let's go, we're moving. Let's go, we're moving. Now we know the rules. We're not allowed to say a word. We're not allowed to protest. We're simply to listen. She says, get in the back seat of the car. My little brother's in the back seat. He's only 3. The car starts to pull away. We're looking back and we're seeing the school go away from us. I want to yell at my mom, you already broke your promise just 2 weeks? You broke your promise already? My brother grabs my arm and he squeezes it and he says, don't say anything. The car is driving for a while now. We leave the Philadelphia city limits. We see the sign. It's night now. Been driving for hours. Destination unknown again. We end up in front of a trailer after being in the car for hours. My mom opens up this trailer door and tells us to sit down. Now listen, boys, I won't be that long, but you are not to leave this trailer until I return. Do you understand me? Yes, ma'am. Boom. The trailer door closes. 1 day goes by, 2 days go by, 3 days go by, 4 days go by, 5 days go by, an 8-year-old, me at 6, my little brother at 3 are sitting there dutifully waiting for my mother. Barely any food, barely any water. Having no idea where she's coming back. I would look through the blinds every day and I go, where is she? And I'm yelling at my older brother. He says, where is she? We're supposed to be in school. There goes another school bus. Where are we? Do something about it. And I'm yelling at my older brother. He goes, what am I supposed to do? I said, you're the oldest. Do something about it. He goes, well, I'm only 8. I said, well, I'm 6. I'm doing something about it. And he says, what? I'm telling on her. That's what a 6-year-old would do. My brother said, you can't leave the trail. I said, well, I'm breaking my promise. She broke her promise. I'm breaking my promise. I want to go to school. So I swing this trailer door. When I start looking around, I really don't know what I'm going to do. I see another trailer door, and I start banging on this trailer door. The stranger, this woman opens the door. She sees my older brother at 8, me at 6, my little brother at 3, and I scream at the lady, my mommy's not here. We're not even in school. She goes, what do you want me to do? I know my grandfather's phone number in Philadelphia. Can we call him? My grandparents, angels, amazing human beings, and rescuers. My grandfather knew that he had to give us wisdom and hope. As early as we could memorize, he made us memorize their phone number. He said, this is going to be the best tool you'll ever have. If you get in any trouble at all, you tell someone the phone number, have them call us, we'll come and get you. And we had done it several times, so we knew the routine. My grandfather had come to our rescue a lot. So I tell the lady my grandfather's phone number. My grandfather's phone number is 215-LA5-8012. See, if I say a number like that, that dates me. Because you have to be from a very certain era to know a phone number in that manner. I always like to tell people that the year, in full transparency, is 1964. I tell people I'm well preserved. I also tell them the engine might look good, but the chassis is definitely rusty. So it's 1964, this woman dials the number, hands me the phone, and I tell her my mother, Pop, mommy's not here, and we're not even in school. He goes, well, where are you? I don't know. And I turn to the stranger, I say, excuse me, man, where are we? She goes, oh, you're in Bowling Green, Virginia. My mother had taken us well over 200 miles away from Philadelphia. And this was the first time I would ever hear my grandfather say this to us. I can't come get you. It's too far. Hand the phone to the woman. So I give the phone to this stranger, and a conversation ensues. We hear later what was said. My grandfather basically says this, listen, I know you don't know me, I know you don't know these boys, but please hear me out. Would you take those 3 little boys down to the Greyhound bus station? Would you explain to the bus driver they have no parents or money, but a promise? I promise I will pay that bus driver once those boys return. Would you do that for me? So this stranger agrees to take an 8-year-old, my older brother, me at 6, my little brother at 3, down to the Greyhound bus station, explains the situation. Now, mind you, we're in the South. It's 1964. 3 African-American boys going to a Greyhound bus station. The bus driver who's taking the bus back to Philadelphia is white. He makes a decision that he's going to watch over us. He puts his life in danger. And he tells us very strictly, I'll never forget, it was so strict, but it was loving. He says, you boys are gonna sit in this seat right here. You do not budge. Do you understand me? You do not budge until we get back to Philadelphia. Do you understand me? Yes, sir. We sat 3 across, huddled next to each other, scared to death. My mother never checked on us. We never lived with her again. But my grandparents, as promised, they're downtown Philadelphia, right at the bus station when the bus pulls up, and they pay that bus driver. And they take us in. Now, my grandfather, a loving man, but very practical. And he had this really beautiful, rich baritone voice. And so he had to kind of set the tone of what was going to happen next in the car before we pull out of the lot. So my grandfather and my grandmother, I guess they'd had this conversation. So my grandmother says, now boys, I need to explain something to you before we leave. Your grandmother and I are getting on in years. We're going to give you food to eat. We're going to give you a roof over your heads. But you're going to have to raise yourselves. So I'm sitting in the back, raise myself. So I raise my hand. And my grandma says, yes, Kevin, Papa, what does raise yourself mean? He says, you gotta fight for stuff. You gotta be resourceful. You gotta be resilient. I raise my hand again. He goes, yes, Kevin. I said, can I just go play? I just feel like I need to run, Papa. Can I just go play for a little bit? He goes, well, yeah, there's a playground near the house. Take me there. I just wanna go play. So he asked my brothers if they wanna go too, and they say no. And my grandfather says, are you gonna be okay? I'll be fine, Papa. There'll be lots of kids there. Can I just go play? So he drives up to the playground, pulls the car up there, stops the car, and says, here's the playground. I said, oh, I know there's gonna be kids out there. I'll just see you in a little bit. The house is down the street, right? He goes, yes. I said, I'm gonna go play. Car pulls off. Now, I fully expect there's gonna be all these kids out there, and I dash out, and I'm looking around, and there's not a soul. And I'm a little dejected, and I look off into this far area of the playground, and there happens to be a ball out there. Just like this one, similar to the ones that are on your tables. We all remember this kickball, foursquare, whatever you want to call it, a playground ball. And I run over and I pick the ball up and I start to bounce it like most kids will. Joy, play, all in my heart, bouncing it around and having a good time. Then I start to get angry. Then I start to get worried. Then I start to get concerned. Then I start pounding the ball into the ground, screaming at the top of my lungs things like, boom, where's my mom at? Boom, where's my dad at? Boom, what's gonna happen to us? And then I turn and boom, I kick the ball as hard and as high as it'll sail up in the air. And as it goes up and it crests and it comes down and bounces against the ground and bounces away from me, I tear off running after this ball as fast as I can. By the time I catch the ball and I grab it and I squeeze it, I'm so out of breath, but I notice something. All that noise, all that worry, all that concern that was swirling in my head, it was gone because the only thing I could actually hear at that moment was my heavy breathing. So in that wonderful, amazing, creative spirit that we have as children, I came up with a coping mechanism. I'm gonna invent a game, and it's gonna be a game of chase, and I'm gonna get the ball in a certain number of bounces. Okay, 7. Boom, and I would kick the ball out, I'd let it bounce one time away, and I'd have to tear off running and get it before it bounced 7 times. 6, 9, 4, and I'm playing this private game of chase. I'm getting so caught up in it, I don't notice that the kids from the neighborhood had started to gather. And I guess they see this lone figure running around chasing this ball, and they're like, what is that kid? So all of a sudden I hear this, hey kid. And I turn and there's this group of boys, arms crossed, staring me down. Get over here. So I start walking towards this group of boys. I'm thinking the worst. Got somebody's ball, we're gonna get in a fight. I don't know what these kids want. And one of them says something so innocent that changes my life forever. Sets in motion my journey. Says these very innocent words. You wanna play with us, kid? We're gonna play kickball, we play basketball, we play football, we play all kinds of games up here, kid. If you want, you can play with us. Oh, okay. So I start ripping and racing and running with these kids, and I notice they don't bother to ask my name. Well, within the first 10 minutes, they give me a nickname. Now, I don't know how many of you grew up in neighborhoods where you get nicknames and they stick. So to this day, at 53 years old, I am still known as this in my neighborhood. Little fast kid. Get that little fast kid. You were my team, little fast kid. And for the next 5 hours, something more magical happened. I belonged. I was a part of something. I had a community, unconditional. They weren't asking me, where's your mom at? Where's your dad at? Where'd you come from? None of that. It was run. Get that little fast kid. Go. 5 hours. At the end of the 5 hours, we're sweating and laughing. I'm like, you guys, can I ask you a question? They're like, yeah, little fast kid, what? I'm like, will you guys be here tomorrow? Yep, we're up here every day. I'm like, okay, I got one other question. They said, what? I said, whose ball is this? They said, I don't know. I said, well, it's mine. I'll see you all tomorrow. So I started on my way to my grandfather's house. I remember I stopped and I paused. I don't remember the exact words, but I absolutely remember the intention. I stopped and I paused and I looked at the ball. And I basically said, if you can do that, If you can help me belong, be a part of something, I'm keeping a ball with me no matter what. And because of that moment, and because of a little red rubber ball, I got things I said that were never going to be possible. I made a commitment at 6 years old. That innocent moment of inspiration became my lifetime chase. I started to recognize that a ball could change my life, that a ball could save a life, because I know a little red rubber ball saved my life. I wouldn't be in front of you all right here, right now, if it wasn't for this ball. So one of the things that I want you all to understand is that a ball can change the world. And if we can have the first slide up, perfect. So one of the things that I've come to understand is this: a ball can change the world. A ball can save a life. One of the most amazing things about a ball is that it can actually make you realize that you can turn ideas and dreams into reality, that you have the ability to make anything change and make a difference in your life. And so as we start to understand this, we start to understand that you can turn ideas into reality with innocent moments of inspiration and lifetime chases. What are you chasing? What inspires you? What assists you? And because of a little red rubber ball, I got things I said were never going to happen. I committed myself to this ball, and I played all kinds of sports. I played football in my youth. I played soccer. I ran track. I played ice hockey, lacrosse, you name it, I played it. But one of the things that I started to understand very clearly, it wasn't about first place, it wasn't about a medal, it wasn't about a trophy, it was about belonging. And the ball was assisting me with other things. It was availing to me a love for books. This is the first book I ever checked out of the public library, Where the Wild Things Are. I still carry a copy in my box of magic here. This is the one that I gave to my oldest boy. This is 32 years old, this one. So this was the first book that I actually checked the title, first one I ever took out of the public library. I've loved the books ever since. So I'm all about a ball, I'm all about a book, and I'm all about betterment. And what I've come to understand is this, is that each and every one of us needs to know what we're chasing, what inspires us, what's your red rubber ball. And at the root of all that, at the root of play, I absolutely know this to be true, that there is creativity, problem solving, abstract thinking, imagination, ingenuity, the ability to create community, the ability to problem solve, to work out conflicts, to actually address very, very serious issues. And so one of the things that I've also tried to be able to do is to find a way to get people to understand this globally. I've turned ideas into reality throughout my life, and one of the things that I did is I dedicated my life to sports and play. I decided that school was going to be important. And in that dedication, I got things they said were never going to happen. I got a bachelor's degree because of a little red rubber ball. I got a master's degree because of a little red rubber ball. I got a chance to spend 10 years in the Air Force as a language translator, where I learned 5 languages. I speak Serbian, Croatian, Russian, German, and Czech. But the ball wasn't done. I got a chance to work at the high school level as an athletic trainer, the collegiate level as an athletic trainer, and then I want you to hearken back to about 10 years old. 10 years old, right? And maybe you say some silly things at 10. I said a crazy thing at 10 years old. I said, I'm gonna be in the NBA one day. Those kids said, no way, you were vertically challenged. That is not gonna happen. I said, no. And I named a couple short players, right? And I kept going at them. They said, never gonna happen. Fast forward to 1995, I've become only the 3rd African-American head athletic trainer in the history of the NBA for my hometown team, the Philadelphia 76ers. Guess who's calling me for tickets? Yo, Little Fast, can you hook us up with some tickets? No, remember that thing you said when I was 10? You still remember that? Yeah and no. So now I'm on the bench with the 76ers. See, there's always this moment where you realize that all the other things made a difference. So I'm on the bench with the 76ers. If you're an NBA fan, you might know the name Vlade Divac. If you're not an NBA fan, you might not know this name. He's from the former Yugoslavia, 7 feet tall, an amazing athlete, a long storied career in the NBA. During a game, he's basically in the zone. He's not missing any shots. I'm sitting on the bench doing my job for the game, taking care of statistics, right, with my coach, right? Personal fouls, team fouls, timeouts, all these things. And my coach is getting more and more upset because Vlade Divac is running past our bench every time he makes a basket, and he's insulting us. You guys stink. You're not going to be able to stop me. I'm going to kill you all night. And our coach is getting more and more upset. He yells at me, how many timeouts do we have left, Carol? I'm like, we got 2. He says, no, I don't want to use a timeout. And it's one of these moments where everybody's aligned perfectly. Vlade runs by. My coach is standing perfectly. He can see me out the corner of his eye. And then he gets this epiphany. He goes, Carol, don't you speak that big guy's language? I'm like, yeah. He goes, okay, listen, this might buy me some time. He won't expect this. Say something about his mom or his dad or his sister or his brother when he runs past the, I'm like, what do you you mean, coach? He said, no, hear me out. He said, he'll never expect it from our bench. He'll never be, expecting it from you, and it'll distract him, and I'll be able to come up with a better defense, and we won't have to use a timeout. I'm not doing it, do it. So I started insulting Vlade Divac in the middle of an NBA basketball game in Serbian. By the 5th time that I've insulted his family lineage, he stops in the middle of the game, 7 feet tall, turns and starts walking towards our bench and saying, who's insulting my family in Serbian? And our coach goes, that little guy right there? And I look at him, I go, dobar dan, kako ste vi, gospodine? He's like, what? Whole rest of the game, can't take his eyes off of me, can't make a shot, can't do anything, right? My coach is so pleased, right? He high-fives me, he says, great job, Carol. He says, now we got 4 other guys that are killing us. Can you help us? No, but Vlade is ticked. He comes storming into the locker room after the game, doesn't even change his uniform, looking for me. Where's that little guy at? Where's that little guy at? Everybody's like, oh, he's back there, he's back there, he's back there. And he comes in, and the unexpected happens. He says, you. Right? Because it would be like that. He was 7 feet tall, right? You. How do you know how to speak my language like that? I never thought I'd meet a you. We're looking for a sports medicine liaison for the 96 Olympic team for Yugoslavia. You're perfect. You'll be our translator. You'll help us with our sports medicine issues. Would you join us? So I joined the Yugoslavian national basketball team for the Atlanta Games. I traveled around all the U.S. with them. The NBA does a special story about me. Someone from Nike sees it. I get a phone call out of the blue from Nike. They want to hire me. And they let me create my own job. They basically say, hey, we just want to bring you into the fold. We think you can help our organization. You can amplify what we do as a business because you are passionate about sports and you've got a great creative mind. You can create whatever position you want. We know that you're going to help. Really? So I come up with the catalyst. An excitatory agent that speeds up or changes a process, a creative catalyst. And I spent nearly 8 years at Nike as a catalyst. I help people in strat planning, marketing, design, food services, the entire organization. I help them all turn ideas and dreams into reality. It's never about a trophy, never about a medal, never about personal advancement, always about advancing others. I know that's what it's about because I learned that on the playground, about inclusion, right? About connections, about community. Getting the messages. At the root of our play, there's all these amazing lessons. See, I can go back to one thing that everyone undeniably will nod their head down and say, that was the coolest toy I ever got. Coolest toy you ever got? Giant refrigerator box, come on. Giant refrigerator box, come on, right? Amazing, right? Giant refrigerator box, hours, days, weeks of possibility. Mess around and invite somebody over? Oh my gosh. Right? Now we're collaborating, right? Now we're conspiring, now we're working on, it's like, oh my gosh, we could do this and that, right? The excitement. It's no different than when you have an issue or a challenge or a creative issue or a challenge in a business. Invite others, step aside, trust, recognize, tell them the story. We got this giant refrigerator box, what can we do with it? I don't know, let's start thinking about it. Before you know it, you've got all kinds of things going on. But at the root of that is playfulness. I can tell you this, there's amazing empirical research out there. I can cite all of that if you want. See, I know there's some people out there who are doubters, right? They don't believe. It's like, that's really interesting that little man is talking about play, but I don't get it, right? No problem. I will address it in a scientific manner for you, right? The National Institute for Play that is headed up by Dr. Stuart Brown, who is a dear friend of mine. He has done over 20,000 play histories. 20,000. He has found that play is as important to you as eating, drinking, or sleeping physiologically. If you ignore play and the necessity of it, you will have deleterious effects. Bad things will happen. Want another one? There was a beautiful book, Sparks of Genius, by Michelle and Dan Root Bernstein. They're professors from Michigan State University. They interviewed 100 Nobel laureates, 100 MacArthur Genius Grant recipients. They talked to them about how they came up with their great solutions, their insights, their innovative moments. 90 plus out of each of those groups, 90 individuals or more out of each of those groups cited that their breakthrough actually happened when they were doing their avocation or hobby or a personal interest. It was not in their lab or their office or their cube. I always like to say, if it's good enough for a Nobel laureate, if it's good enough for a MacArthur Genius Grant recipient, don't you think we should find time for play? But what is so interesting is that adults marginalize play. Young people in the audience don't ever lose the spirit of it. Adults reawaken it. Recognize that play is serious business. And play is serious in business. Because play is at the root of all those breakthrough moments. See, play has that ability to allow us to be ingenious, to use our creativity, our imagination in ways we didn't think were possible. We can deliver the unexpected because we're including others. Play is serious business. We need to reawaken it. For adults, many times, the only thing you've done is you've allowed it to atrophy. It's weak. You got to work out that creative muscle just like anything else. Young people keep it strong, agile, and nimble. There's an actual scientific term about adults who sustain that playful spirit throughout their entire life. It's called neoteny, N-E-O-T-E-N-Y. Sustaining the agility and nimbleness of youth throughout your entire life. I try to be the embodiment of neoteny. Hopefully one day I'll be the poster child. I'm waiting for Dr. Brown to say I am. I think that we all need to recognize the role and value of play and do not marginalize it, but celebrate it on a regular basis. Because play is going to be the catalyst for your innovation, your creativity, your problem solving, your solutions. I promise you that. And as I got to travel around the world, I started to see things that I recognized. Nike was so amazing in letting me see the world, but I got to see something that I recognized. I got to see play around the world, and I got to see children actually at play. And as I started to travel around the world, I got a chance to see a ball changing the world. And so as I started to see these amazing moments with children doing things, I started to think about organizations. And so I started partnering with organizations like the Homeless World Cup. They work with marginalized communities, and they have a global soccer tournament where they actually change the lives of people at 75% rate. People who participate in the Homeless World Cup, their lives are shifted and changed in a dramatic way. 75% of the attendees. 64 nations gathered in Paris just in September. 64 nations, 500 invisible individuals before the tournament, but no longer invisible, and lives changed. Beyond Sport is a fantastic organization that brings together social innovators from around the world. I'll be actually going to Cape Town, South Africa, partnering once again with Archbishop Desmond Tutu. It'll be my 4th time working with him in Cape Town. Now, mind you, I'm that 6-year-old boy who was put on a Greyhound bus, whose grandparents took him in, who the social worker said, don't expect much, but do the best you can. I got a chip on my shoulders and I said, I'll show you, you watch. I know I can be something. I got the encouragers, I got the people around me. I would speak up, I would tell people my story and what I wanted to do and how I wanted to stay around sports and play, and enablers came. We were talking earlier, I was talking to a young man, Lonnie, out here from Louder Than a Bomb, and we were talking about the whole notion of haters, discouragers, how they chase you down, how they try to hold you back. And I learned in Soweto from a young man the real definition of a hater. He said, Mr. Kevin, I can tell you what a hater is. I said, what? He said, a hater is a confused admirer. Isn't that beautiful? A hater is a confused admirer. I'm like, duly noted. It's true. They just don't know. They just don't know that if you allow me and you support me, amazing things are going to happen. So I found those encouragers, and now I'm standing next to Archbishop Tutu. It was a moment. It made me realize that if we can set our sights on something, if we know what inspires us, if we want to chase after that on a regular basis, anything is possible. Human potential is boundless and endless. But we have to have those ingredients. We got to know what we want to chase, what inspires you, what's your red rubber ball. For me, literally, it's sports, but it could be anything. Math, science, art, business building, entrepreneurship, photography, it could be anything. But you got to know what you're chasing, why you're getting up every day. And then after that, you then set in motion the people around you. You start speaking up. My grandmother would say, a closed mouth don't get fed. You got to open up your mouth and let people know what it is you want and what it is you need. And you never know who will come with you to assist. So I started to understand this more and more by working with these organizations, and I got a chance to actually travel around the world, and I saw the things that really were important to me. I actually got to see children at play around the world. And so one of the things that I started to do was to find a way to influence them through ball exchanges. And so I started to actually do ball exchanges around the world. And some of the examples you'll see, I would see kids playing in a field, and then I would actually bring a ball. So this is actually a ball exchange in Uganda. This is a ball exchange in India that we did. This is a ball exchange in the Northern Territory, the outback of Australia. And what we would get back is magical. It was creative. It was innovative. All around the necessity of play. So this is a trash bag ball. Actually, I'm sorry, this is a banana fiber ball from Uganda, made out of the fibers from a tree. This is a trash bag ball from Mozambique. This is a trash bag ball from Kenya. The kids had no string to bind the bags up, so one of them came up with a solution. There was an old tire, so painstakingly peeled that tire rubber down to make string out of it. Wooden ball from Mexico. A ratty beat up torn up ball from Bahia, Brazil. We went to trade them. They actually thought we were trying to steal that one. So we had to we had to set the ball down and back away slowly. And they gave us that ball back. We asked the question, when is that not a ball anymore? One of the kids says to us, full sincerity, when there's only one panel left, it's not a ball. But you use it till there's nothing left of it. A water balloon ball from Mexico. A ball made of socks from Brazil. A wicker ball from Indonesia. A ball can change the world. All of those examples, the organizations are using a ball as a convening tool, and they're addressing social issues, health issues, education issues with a ball, with sports. I just got done doing a Native American sports summit at Nike called Nike N7. It was an amazing gathering of social innovators, human catalysts who are making a difference in the Native American community through sports. I know a ball can make a difference, but so can spoken word, so can photography, so can music, so can dance. All these things are being used as a convening tool. It's phenomenal. It's amazing. It's all about passion, purpose, and intention. So what's your red rubber ball? What inspires you? So one of the things that I like to do is I like to leave behind a little bit of play. And so I met a young lady just a little bit ago, Camber. Yeah. So Camber, you are in charge of this box. This is a box of balls. You will not be able to carry this yourself, young lady. But I'm glad you walked up and thought you could. So your mother needs to come up here and help you with this box. Now what you're going to do is this, Camber. You're going to take these, right? One of them is filled up, a few of them are filled up. But you're going to get a chance to share these with kids you think who actually need a ball, right? Wouldn't that be a cool thing? You're going to be one of my catalysts. Is that fair? Thank you. This one is yours, though. This one is yours. The rest of them you're going to share with other kids, and then you have to tell me the story. So wait, I'm going to give you my business card. We are in business now, you and I, right? So there's my business card. I need to hear the stories from you, and then I'm going to share your stories on my blog. Girl, you're going to be global. There you go. Help your mom. You got it? Got it? Excellent. So, I go around the world and I do these ball exchanges. Now, Camber is a part of it. See, so the story will continue. We'll get to hear these stories. It's going to be fantastic. Camber, you are my girl. She's like, yeah, Kevin, I love you too. So, turn ideas and dreams into reality. Simple truths, simple lessons, some simple things that I've come to understand. You got to know what inspires you on a regular basis. You got to know that. What's your red rubber ball? That's a very important ingredient to turning ideas or dreams into reality. Another very important thing is you got to not have the adult posture. The adult posture will hurt you. Here I will demonstrate the adult posture. You might walk past a 15-foot, 250-pound ball. It's an actual public art project called the Red Ball Project. The artist's name is Kurt Persky. I want you all to see this fantastic video of how it infiltrated the city of Chicago, and took it over for 2 weeks. Can we run that video, please? So I stayed at Nike for nearly 8 years. I left Nike in 2004 to embark in this global effort to express to people why it's important to be chasing your passion, your purpose, and your intention on a daily basis. I met Kurt Pershey because of that. We actually did the Red Ball Project in the city of Portland, Oregon for a week. It was my way of letting people know that I'm in the city and I'm on my own and I've left Nike and this is my mark, a 15-foot, 250-pound ball. One of the things that we actually learned was that adults literally would walk past that ball with their head down looking at a screen. How do you walk past a 15-foot, 250-pound ball? Sadly, that adults would do that. You know who never missed it? Kids. What? Boom, right? Every time. Every time. The point is, look up every once in a while. Look up from a screen. Shift your gaze, literally, right? Change your perspective. See things through those eyes of a child, eyes of wonder, eyes of possibility, like Camber. You all couldn't see her eyes. They lit up when she saw the size of the box. That's that wonder. That's that excitement. That's that potential of the unexpected. Right, 15-foot, 250-pound ball, it could be around the corner from you. But if you're walking like this, you could walk right by the solution, the innovation, that 1 degree of change that could make the difference in that idea, that issue that you're facing. But you gotta look up every once in a while. I have 1 look up a day per week. One day that I spend more time looking up than looking down at a screen. I get in the habit of jotting down notes about what I discovered. I learn how to tell a story about it. It's an opportunity for you. 15-foot, 250-pound ball might be around the corner. Look up. Physical genius. Each and every one of us has genius inside of us. Every single one of us has the capacity for an amazing moment. But you have to be willing to do the lonely work, the work of a champion. Malcolm Gladwell did this interview. He interviewed Wayne Gretzky, ice hockey player, Yo-Yo Ma, the cellist, Charlie Wilson, a neurosurgeon. Each of them, he talked to them about how they got to be at a level of being exceptional at what they're doing. Every single one of them said the same thing. I chose not to be satisfied with being good. Good was not enough. I wanted to pursue something that I knew would make me stretch, would challenge me. I wanted to go after a moment of genius. Why shouldn't all of us be chasing something like that, something that aspirational? You're all in here because you're good. Check. We need you to be great. You've got a state proclamation. That's amazing. It is a state of creativity. I love that. I'm jealous because Oregon, I just said to some people outside, I'm gonna get Oregon to do that. We have to do that. We have to get a lot more states doing that. You all can be the leaders if you demonstrate what a state can do around it. People will be watching. They'll wanna see what you come up with, how you collaborate, how you come together as a state to move forward and advance ideas. You all are chasing genius now, together. It's a fantastic aspiration to come together around. But you gotta arm yourself. One thing that I've come to understand is that knowledge is power. Books are my travel companions. I'm a voracious reader. I love books. And I met a young man, Lonnie. There was a Lonnie, and I also met a gentleman, Randy, outside. You know who? You can just go, woo! I know you're out there, Lonnie. Don't be shy. I know Randy. And Randy the photographer, don't be shy. Where are you? You're not gonna say woo? Everybody's waiting for your woo, Randy. You gotta play to win. Lonnie, it is yours. 26 pounds of possibility, creativity, problem solving. You can share these, you can read these, you can do whatever it is that you want with that. That is yours. Enjoy that. Done. So, books are my travel companions. I love books. I think that we all have to be lifelong learners. Lifelong learners, wanted and needed if you want to advance an idea into reality. You have to have those eyes of a child, but you also have to have that passion for learning. It should be an opportunity to learn every single day. You need to also recognize that we have the ability to make a difference. Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. It's a beautiful quote from Goethe. And if we could see that up on the screen, it would be fantastic so that I can nail this moment. So the whole notion of chasing genius, that's Lewis Gordon Pugh, the human polar bear. He does extreme swims on behalf of climate change. He's a phenomenal human being. He absolutely believes in this whole notion that whatever you can do or dream, you can begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. And so when you start to think about that whole notion of making a difference, chasing your genius, ordinary won't change the world, he said. We need extraordinary from you. That's what we're hoping for. And we also need you to be playful. We need you to recognize the role and value of play. And so what I wanted to share with you as my parting gift is you have this state of creativity, this whole notion of an entire state at play. So I want you to see that it's possible, because I want to demonstrate to you a city at play. Imagine if an entire city, an entire community was actually playing tag. So this is one of the IT jerseys that we used when I was at Nike. We had 4,000 people play toilet tag. If you're not familiar with toilet tag, this is the way it works. You squat, you put your arm up when you're tagged, and you scream, "Flush me, somebody flush me." And they have to pull your arm down, and then you can run again. Imagine 4,000 people for 3 hours played a game of tag. 4,000 people for 3 hours played a game of tag. And one of the things that we came to understand is this: coming together, that level of joy, that level of controlled chaos was magical. And so I want you to see an entire city at play. Can we run the video tag, please? So, the whole notion of turning ideas and dreams into reality, the importance of that, the role and value of that, I think it's so important that we, each and every one, is always paying attention to that and thinking about that. And I want to leave you with this parting thought, that play is serious business. You have this opportunity because you've been given permission, a state of creativity. What more permission do you need? Embrace it and run with it. And if you need something to embolden you, then think about this. James Michener really says it beautifully. The master in the art of living makes little distinction between his work and his play, his labor and his leisure, his mind and his body, his information and his recreation, his love and his religion. He hardly knows which is which. He simply pursues his vision of excellence, leaving others to decide whether he is working or playing. See, to him, he is always doing both. And shouldn't that be our quest to blur the lines between our work and our play and find joy in everything we're pursuing on a daily basis? Thank you so much for your time and your attention.